Welcome back to the Majority Report. Michael Brooks here. Joining us now is Eric Levitz. He's a staff writer for New York Magazine. Eric, how you doing? Thanks for being here.
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Sorry about that, Eric. Now you're here. Welcome, Eric Levitz. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, good to be here.
Eric, you, as is your way, have some very smart pieces out that people can read at New York Magazine. The first I want to touch on, and I'm going to play a clip for us that is not exactly, we'll expand the conversation, but it relates to what you're talking about. Because, well, first, there's some irony here in people like Eric Holder. Eric Holder, who recently apparently is going to be involved in a Netflix show about prosecuting big bankers, which, okay, I guess better in fiction than not at all. But this is also Eric Holder. He's campaigning for Stacey Abrams, who is running a really competitive race for governor of Georgia. She can win. The Republican Party there, and her opponent specifically, is aggressively going about vote purging and attempting to suppress the African-American vote, as is Republican strategy nationally. And he had this to say about how to beat Republicans. I want you to respond to that and then connect it to your new piece, Republicans. Protesters are an unruly mob unless they're heavily armed and support us. Let's play this Holder clip, and then I'll throw it to you, Eric.
Time for us as Democrats to be as tough as they are, to be as dedicated as they are, to be as committed as they are. Michelle always says, Michelle Obama, I love her, she and my wife, like, really tight, which always scares me and Barack.
Pause. Keep her name out your mouth. All right, go ahead.
But Michelle always says that, when they go low, we go high. No. When they go low, we kick them. That's what this new Democratic Party is about. We're proud as hell to be Democrats. We're willing to fight for the ideals of the Democratic Party. We're proud of our history. We're proud of our present, and we're proud of the future that we can create for this country. And we're not in this just to make a statement. We're in this to win. Yes. All right? And the reality is, if we don't win, people who are less committed, less idealistic, less imbued with the values that make this nation really great, will run this country. Now, I see all these great Stacey Abrams t-shirts. Think about what the message would be to Donald Trump, to the nation, and to the world if a black woman was elected governor of this great state. Think about how we felt about our country and how our country was perceived when Barack was elected in 2008. Yeah. And this would be much the same thing. This would be a rejection of all the negativism, all the divisiveness, all the racial games that they're trying to play. It would say that here in Georgia, we're better than that. We're better than that. And the reality is, you are better than that. But the thing is, we never get our people to the polls. If we vote, we win. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
So, and that's pretty mild stuff. It's correct stuff. It's good oration. And of course, Republicans immediately had a bunch of spasms about, apparently when they go low, I guess Democrats are supposed to, help them up to accelerate the velocity of the punches into Democrats' midsections.
Yeah. I think that what you're seeing in the way that they have repackaged that Holder clip is similar to, it's connected both to the way that Republicans have responded to the Kavanaugh protests by casting, feminists, liberals, labor activists as this left-wing mob, which is simultaneously fanatically left-wing and totally mercenary and doesn't believe anything because they're just the hired hands of George Soros who are just doing this for money. But it's connected to that and also to that sort of infamous clip of Beto O'Rourke addressing a black church about the police shooting in Dallas that Ted Cruz shared as though this were some sort of negative and revealing moment where O'Rourke was simply saying sort of what we would take as anodyne sentiments that, white police officers should not be able to shoot black people in their homes at will. In both cases, it's both this demonizing of the left, but also specifically, without saying that this is what they're doing, raising the specter of black political power as a tool to mobilize their base's paranoid fears and resentment.
Right.
In all these instances, there's just not a lot that Democrats. There isn't anything that Democrats can do to stop these lines of attack.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the case that if every Democrat in Congress stood up and said, we revile these immigration activists who are calling for us to abolish ICE. We love ICE. We just think that it should be a little kinder and gentler. Whatever. If Democrats, no amount of triangulation is going to solve the problem. Last week, Donald Trump announced that Dianne Feinstein was the lead author of an open borders bill. The reality of what Democrats stand for does not matter because fundamentally Republicans, their entire electoral strategy is dependent on portraying the Democratic Party as a radical left-wing organization that, resembles something much closer to what we would wish the Democratic Party was than what it actually is.
Right. If you ever want to feel happy about the Democratic Party, watch a Republican rally.
Yeah. And so they fundamentally, they can't run on their fiscal agenda, which is incredibly unpopular. And they really don't even have that big of an advantage. Like if you actually put in very dry terms the culture war stuff to the Republican base, a large majority of Republicans think that undocumented immigrants who've been in the country a while and haven't committed crimes should have legal status. They believe that we should have universal background checks for guns. A majority think that Roe should not be overturned. There's the activist base of the party, which is genuinely conservative. But your average Republican doesn't even have, on issues, really that strong a culture war position. It's their fear of the other side, the other tribe, who the Democrats are, who they represent. It's paranoia fundamentally that they rely on. And so they're going to campaign on that, whatever Democrats do, and they're not constrained by facts. Which means that Democrats, the upside is that we aren't really constrained in what we do. We're going to be called socialists whether we do the ACA or we do Medicare for all. And so it's really up to us what we actually want.
Right.